Therapy service BetterHelp is under fire this morning. The FTC has proposed a ban on the company for sharing users' personal data in order to advertise. Under this ban, BetterHelp would have to pay $7.8 million to consumers. That's the time frame the FTC says most of the data sharing took place.
Hello everyone, it's Isabella here and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we are talking about the dark reality of BetterHelp. A lot of you guys have probably seen ads for BetterHelp, YouTube content creators posting about BetterHelp, and so much more. I honestly, even though I had never worked with BetterHelp, thought, well, wow, it's an online platform to help out with therapy. That's great. However, sadly, we've come to realize that there is a really bad dark side to BetterHelp. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you guys do or don't know, I talk about scams, unethical companies, businesses, creators, family channels, literally anything that's scammy or unethical, I cover here on the channel. So if you like that, please subscribe. But we're going to be diving into the problems with BetterHelp, the lawsuits, legal issues, and other really shocking things that not a lot of people know about. Before we hop into today's video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell button down below. My vlog channel merch and podcast are in the description below. And now let's get into it. So today's sponsor, we're going to be talking about Ana Luisa. Now, if you guys don't know, or honestly, just from the background alone, I'm a pretty stylish person. I love dressing up. I love putting myself together. And a big aspect of that, and something I always encourage for people, is to find good, long-lasting accessories that you can wear every single day that add to your look. And with that, we are talking about jewelry. So Ana Luisa, they have the most dainty and aesthetically pleasing pieces ever that I think are honestly going to be very, very timeless for me. And I wear them all the time. So real quickly, let me walk you guys through a couple of pieces that I have that I'm completely obsessed with. This beautiful dainty pearl bracelet. Then next up, I have these actual mini pearl hoop earrings. These are so beautifully done. And then of course, I have this very beautiful light pearl choker on that is so gorgeous. And of course, I also have these very classic, simple hoop gold earrings. You can never go wrong with hoop earrings, and those are an absolute staple for my everyday looks. Ana Luisa really stands out because they have an incredible mission when it comes to their design philosophy. They guarantee their metals are always safe, nickel-free, and hypoallergenic, combination stress tested to make sure your favorite pieces are life-proof so you can wear them with confidence. And I'm telling you right now, I literally wear my jewelry all the time, thoroughly impressed by the quality and how they have exactly what I want in a jewelry brand. So you guys can go now and shop some new jewelry pieces at Ana Luisa by going down the description below, clicking the link, and using the code Lanter20 for 20% off. That's code Lanter20 for 20% off with the link in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into it. So let's talk about what is BetterHelp. So BetterHelp blew up as a platform that was able to offer accessible therapy. So I'm somebody where I'm personally in therapy. It is honestly extremely transformative. However, big problem when it comes to this industry is it's not accessible for a lot of people. So when this program came out, it was very enticing. Many people absolutely jumped on it because having the best of both worlds, to where it was a platform where everyone can have access to it. People can find a therapist. People didn't have crazy waiting times. You could get it to where if you didn't like a therapist, you could change it very quickly. Like it was marketed off as an opportunity for people to get rid of some of the other hassle that's others have experienced from other forms of therapy and have it virtual, more affordable, and better for people absolutely everywhere from the comfort of your own home. Now, this is extremely enticing, and I'm going to be honest, when I was originally looking for my therapist, I was inches away from getting started with BetterHelp. I'm going through a local location here, and I have an incredible therapist, but BetterHelp promotes that they will match you to one of 31,000 licensed therapists based upon your location, preference, and therapist ability. And then additionally on the website, I want to show you guys how BetterHelp is marketing everything off to you currently. So right here it says it's professional. All therapists are licensed, accredited professionals. BetterHelp allows you to connect with them in a safe and convenient online environment. It's affordable. Pay a low flat fee or unlimited therapy with your therapist. Therapy doesn't have to be expensive. It's convenient. Do it at your own time and at your own pace. Communicate with your therapist as often as you want and whenever you feel it's needed. And then lastly, it's effective. Thousands of people have benefited from therapy. Just check out the reviews. With BetterHelp, you can switch therapists at any point if you don't feel you are getting enough benefit. Now, again, like I said, this sounds like an incredible opportunity for people, and I highly recommend therapy. Therapy needs to be there for literally everyone, and I think everyone should have access to it. And it really breaks my heart when so many people don't have access to it, come across a platform like this, and think that this could be the way finally that they get answers and help. But But with that though, we're finally getting into the actual problems with BetterHelp. So BetterHelp started having controversies years and years ago. Now again, I want to kind of preface this by saying a lot of this stuff has been flying under the radar for a while. So if you're someone that had no idea, again, I didn't even have idea until like a month ago. This has not been very publicly known by many people, I would say, or it's now kind of recently gaining traction. In October 2018, BetterHelp gained attention from the media personalities after concerns were raised about alleged use of unfair pricing, bad experiences with the app, paid reviews from actors, and terms of services that allegedly did not correspond with ads promoted by YouTubers. When it comes to a controversy, it kind of takes a little bit for the traction to gain. So there were some people vocalizing how allegedly terms and conditions weren't exactly spot on, how there was some misleading with the ads. And honestly, that is a major problem with false advertising in our world, when something is told to you and promised to you, and then you don't get that actually. And from my opinion, when we have things that are promised to you and told to you and they're not happening at all, that is falling under the scam category, which we will get into in a minute. However, with this though, now it started kind of gaining traction. And the more that people speak up, the more that others speak up as well, which has ultimately led to many TikToks actually popping off. And even there's a running joke about BetterHelp therapists. So I want to quickly show you guys a couple of examples of people who were part of this program, because I want you guys to get a feel of their experiences and how bad this stuff was.
How many years do you think it's going to be before we see a true crime documentary about BetterHelp?
So I tried BetterHelp twice. I actually got a refund from them. So my first therapist was 10 minutes late to our 10-minute meeting, our first initial meeting. And then she was like, oh, wow, we don't have a lot of time. So I told her about something, and it was like something traumatic for me. And she focused so much on the other people's pronouns and sexuality that like the story didn't even matter at this point. And then she kept trying to sell me her book. So I contacted them and I got a different therapist. He was also late and just completely missed our first meeting. We set a second one. He missed that one. And then he just texted like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I was at my other job. And I was just like, what the
I am so glad that we are outing BetterHelp. You would not believe the experience I had with them. 2019, when I was experiencing the worst of my eating disorder, I had not opened up to a soul about it. I decided for the first time to try and advocate for myself. I downloaded BetterHelp. I got set up with this woman in America, and they said that she was like an eating disorder specialist, and I thought, oh great, okay, someone who'll actually get it. I started explaining to her like my symptoms, my thoughts, and how awful my life was because of it. She said something to me like, oh, is your BMI really that low that you're experiencing all these things? And I thought, right, that's not relevant. I didn't even acknowledge that. But then I did tell her how much weight I had lost. I didn't tell her where my weight was at. It could have been anywhere on the BMI scale, but from what she had said earlier, she was assuming that it was like super low. Anyway, what she said to me there was, well, good for you. Congratulations on all that weight loss. I deleted the chat, deleted the app, and never advocated for myself again.
Only way to contact them, the licensing, the state licensing board, is through Facebook.
Oh, wow.
I called the state office and they're like, yeah, you can only get a hold of them through Facebook. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's intense.
So at the beginning of the month, I reached out to BetterHelp to get a therapist to just get some immediate help because I was really struggling with a lot of things. I've seen multiple therapists in my life, so I'm pretty familiar with the process and how things are normally supposed to go. So my immediate impression with BetterHelp was that their system was really glitchy. I had a hard time getting in contact with them. It was not sending messages to the therapist that it assigned me to. So yeah, the system itself, not very good. The first therapist they assigned me to, he interrupted me several times during the session, and he treated the session like it was a first date. And he cut me off several times, and he also ended the session early. So I decided to switch therapists, and I switched to a different person. And this person, for the first 15 minutes of the session, so a third of the session, talked at me. Not only did they talk at me for 15 minutes, they also referenced other past clients that they had, which I thought was really bizarre. I never had a therapist in my life ever talk about previous clients, and especially kind of mention that previous clients had said things and blah, blah, blah. Kind of my same situation with the first therapist that they had assigned me to. This other therapist, also the talking at me, also treated it like a first date, and neither one of them were really addressing the immediate concerns that I needed help now. So, and again, I've seen a lot of therapists in my life, and so I'm very familiar that generally, like, you're supposed to start with the trauma that you're going through to kind of address and get through that immediate stuff that's going on. And I was supposed to have my third session today, and the therapist emailed me this morning to cancel it. So kind of just with everything that was going on and the way the billing cycle was going to work. I had paid for 4 sessions and only gotten 2. So I just went ahead and let them know. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cancel my service with them because I am not getting help that I need. These therapists don't really seem like they really care about me at all, which was kind of a first in my life. I never really encountered therapists. I don't really think these people were therapists, to be honest. So yeah, honestly, -5 out of 10. I would not recommend BetterHelp to anybody that honestly needs help. Like, it's really disappointing because I was really hoping to address a lot of the pressing concerns that I've had recently, and I left feeling more frustrated and didn't get any help. So do not use it.
So I only had the capacity to show you a couple of experiences, but those are several out of many, many experiences. I was literally scrolling through thousands of videos of people telling their experiences, talking about how therapists were not helpful to them. Even comments that I'm showing you guys right now of people being absolutely shocked about how there was a lack of actual support and care and so much more that was going on. And so with that, more people started becoming aware, more people started to report BetterHelp, and it ultimately has led to some now legal issues. So some of the additional claims that I want to highlight is several people talked about how their therapists were not showing up to some of the calls, which is a big red flag, right? So when you're paying for a therapy session and your therapist doesn't even show up, then you're wasted money on that. And again, a lot of people in our world today do not have money that they could just toss around. It's not convenient for them. And so when someone's paying for something and the therapists are actually not showing up, but then additionally, allegedly, BetterHelp wasn't even helpful with getting refunds or getting any sort of involvement to help with the said financial scam, people were seriously upset and disappointed. And I can't even imagine how heartbreaking and upsetting it would be to try and seriously get help and try and talk to a therapist, only for you to be losing so much money when that was supposed to go towards therapy. And now you may have to stop going to this therapy and you feel very uncomfortable with even going to therapy now due to this bad experience. And additionally, there was many other experiences that would further discuss how if they were on calls, there were therapists that were horrible, like not actually giving good advice. Of course, I showed you guys many good examples of people talking about the therapists that were only like talking about themselves, not focusing on the client, which is highly unprofessional, and just many other examples of this. So with the videos that have been posted and countless other comments, experiences, you name it, finally got the attention of the FTC and many other people to where now they're cracking down on BetterHelp. In early March of 2023, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, announced that it had taken action against BetterHelp over allegations the company, and I quote, repeatedly pushed people into handing over sensitive health data that was supposed to be kept private, but ultimately ended up in the hands of major advertising platforms. To resolve these claims, the agency proposed an order banning BetterHelp from disclosing consumers' personal and health data to Facebook and other third parties for advertising purposes, and required $7.8 million to be paid to consumers who were allegedly deceived into believing the company would have kept their information private. Days after the FTC announcement, though, 2 proposed class action lawsuits were filed against BetterHelp on behalf of consumers who used the company's mental health platform and had their information disclosed to third parties without their consent. The allegations posed by the FTC and the class action lawsuit do not mark the first time BetterHelp has come under fire for its privacy practices. In February 2020, Isabella published an in-depth article titled The Spooky, Loosely Regulated World of Online Therapy. So following its own investigation into BetterHelp and how it's used consumer data, reporters Molly Osberg and Andra Mortra wrote that after going through the intake process themselves, BetterHelp began to silently slip data to dozens of third parties, signaling to Facebook, Google, Snapchat, and Pinterest that they were considering treatment from the platform. BetterHelp faced additional controversies in late 2022 when TikTok users began to detail bad experiences with their therapists. And around the same time, it was also reported that one BetterHelp counselor had advised a 22-year-old gay man to change his sexual orientation so that way he could, quote, reunite with his family. So real quickly, I just have to say, I applaud reporters and people who do investigation into this stuff because, again, this is literally no joke. And I understand how scary that must be to try and mess with a huge corporation like that. Like, that's not convenient anyway. But from what the information that we're seeing here right now with this, it's talking about how essentially if you were interested in joining the platform, all of a sudden that information would be shared to every social media platform, which would push tons of ads in front of you and trying to kind of convince you to get involved, which I feel like that is quite odd. And honestly, that makes so much more sense because I didn't join BetterHelp, but I did look into it and try to see if I could get involved. And then all of a sudden the plethora of BetterHelp ads I got was wild to say the least. But not even just that though, the fact that there was other issues with therapists encouraging absolutely horrible things is disgusting to me. Last statement talking about the 22-year-old who was pushed to literally change who they are to be able to be with their family is fucking disgusting and should never happen at all. You should not be shamed into being someone who you absolutely are not because some family is mistreating you. And if anything, a therapist should be there advocating for you and telling you, hey, no, you deserve better than this. You shouldn't be changing yourself for a family that's going to mistreat you. That's absolutely heartbreaking. But the data that was exposed, it has been alleged that BetterHelp disclosed users' email addresses, IP addresses, enrollment with BetterHelp, and certain responses given during an intake questionnaire to third parties for advertising purposes, specifically to retarget those who hadn't signed up yet for paid services, find and target potential new users, and optimize its advertisements. For instance, the FTC claimed that BetterHelp uploaded to Facebook and nearly 2 million users' email a piece of data that can link an individual to their specific Facebook account to place ads encouraging current and former customers to refer their friends to the service. BetterHelp also allegedly used the fact that someone had previously been in therapy or rated themselves as having a good or fair financial status, information gathered in its intake questionnaire to optimize its Facebook ads and find and target potential new users. In addition to requesting information on finances and prior counseling, BetterHelp's intake questionnaire also reportedly asked the users how old they were, their marital status, whether they've been in therapy before, and how they would rate their sleep and eating habits, whether they're employed, whether they've been experiencing overwhelming sadness, grief, or depression, and whether they've had suicidal thoughts. The FTC said that BetterHelp also disclosed consumers' email addresses to Snapchat, Pinterest, and Criteo. So in 2017, BetterHelp allegedly assigned a junior marketing analyst who was right out of college and, quote, never worked in the market and had no experience and little training when it comes to protecting consumers' health information to handling its Facebook ad campaigns. It wasn't until 2021 their employee was given any training specific to BetterHelp's business or advertising, the FTC wrote. BetterHelp has reportedly spent tens of millions each year to market its services. In 2020, for instance, the company spent between 10 and 20 million on Facebook alone. While BetterHelp is not technically selling the data, the platform is ultimately using consumers' private information to increase its own profits, lawsuits say. So right there, I'm sorry, but I feel like this is such a bitch-ass move that a lot of these companies like to do, where they always blame some intern, some social media intern, some brand new person that, oh God, they had no idea, and like, whoop, shit, not our fault. I'm sorry. When you're dealing with mega marketing campaigns, no. I'm sorry, but I will never believe that for a second for you to just blame it on one person. And also, if you're gonna go and blame it on one person, let's say they didn't know, that is also the company's job to equip people with the right things and information and do trainings to make sure people are not violating laws and practices. And I don't know, but to me, that kind of sounds like common sense to not air out all of people's personal data. Like, that makes literally no sense at all to do. I just don't think that that's fucking necessary. It's one thing to put out ads and find ways of marketing out your platform, but it's an entirely different story when you air it all out to different companies. That sounds a little too deeply planned for one person to simply just accidentally do that. You know what I mean? That's completely bullshit. And then additionally, another statement that I wanted to make that other people have been alleging is they've been claiming that certain information about therapists that have been falsely advertised, essentially. So some people have reported that, let's say I go onto a different website or there's registries and information about therapists. If I'm interested in looking at that therapist, if I click on their information, what they're saying is some consumers would click on a therapist and it would lead them immediately to BetterHelp, claiming that, oh, if you want to talk to this therapist, it's available here. I don't know, it's a little bit interesting to say the least how intricately this has been done. And because of the intricacy is why I personally don't believe that this was done on accident. I think they just got caught. And I also feel like they're forgetting that there are insane amounts of social media users that have personal experiences sharing their testimonies. And I'm so proud of you for that. And speaking of, though, if you are someone that's watching this video and has been scammed, has had really bad experiences with BetterHelp and so much more, this is what I want you to do. You can go to the BBB and you can report them and report the business. They give opportunities for companies to unfuck their problems, essentially. But if they have that many reports, it gives them more backup, more leverage, and more reason to essentially go after these companies. And by rating them, you can do a lot and really help use your voice to impact the companies that are screwing you over. And additionally, I would like to say also for literally anyone, because I have come across even my personal experiences of companies threatening you when you review them, talk about them, etc. You can give a review. That is perfectly fine. If it's completely true and you have evidence to back it up, of course it's not defamation. You have every right to share your review and personal experiences, and that's it. And if someone's going to carelessly and recklessly threaten you with literally zero actual evidence as to how you're doing it wrong, no. I am not a lawyer. I am not a legal professional. All I'm saying is people have a right to share the reviews, just like the company has a right to do whatever the they want and also get caught at it. So you have a right to share your reviews and personal experiences. And if you choose to make videos, talk about it on TikTok, YouTube, that is perfectly fine. Now, another really quick point I do want to make as well, because I've kind of heard a lot of conversation going on about this. So you are someone that's currently using BetterHelp, and that's the only way that you can have access to your therapist and it's working well for you. I am not here to encourage you to stop, okay? I know, again, a lot of people have limited access to resources, and that is not your fault. What I'm saying is this kind of content is here to bring awareness. So maybe if someone's considering joining, they may not. But then additionally, it helps people not feel alone, but also try and bring some awareness and hold the companies accountable. A lot of this noise essentially has led to these lawsuits, which is important. Now, again, that doesn't inherently mean that the company is going to just do everything better, but having the FTC on their ass is good. They're being watched now. There's more things happening. And my thing is there's a lot of companies that we honestly use every day that do have lawsuits. Now, me personally, I'm never going to use BetterHelp. I'm never going to partner with BetterHelp. I have specifically told my management I will never be partnering with them. Absolutely not. A therapy is very hard to access. And if this is what's working for you, then utilize that, because I am not here trying to make you feel like a bad person, because if this is what is helping you getting through whatever you need to, and if you have found a good therapist, I'm so happy for you. But for those of you who maybe are in BetterHelp, you've had negative experiences, you've been hurt, there's been really bad things happening, you have every right to get out of it. In my opinion, I'm hoping people who come across this video is for those who are interested in joining. If you are someone that's already a part of it and you love it and you have good services and the therapist you have is great, that is okay. That just like the bad experiences are valid, so are the good. But I want people to be aware of what's happening, aware of the lawsuits, so at least they know before getting themselves involved. Now, let me kind of wrap this up with some final thoughts and conversations. The biggest thing that I'm very happy about, even though I think it's the bare minimum, at least the FTC is up their ass. That is something that has made me happy. There are many companies that I feel like have flown under the radar for so long or never have any lawsuits or legal action brought up against them. I am extremely proud of everyone who has worked so hard to hold them accountable, and I'm very happy that something is happening. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to get better. That doesn't mean that anything's going to drastically change. At least something is finally happening, and we have documentation of this going down, which is really, that's important, because overall that can help people with consumer awareness. To another thing that I'm very thoroughly upset about when it comes to this situation is the fact that we have people who are so careless trying to utilize this platform with people who genuinely need help. However, there's many people who are dealing through extreme situations, serious situations, and they really, really seriously need some help. And I can't even imagine going desperately, trying so hard to find help, trying to talk to a therapist, trying to get involved with something because you don't know where else to go, and the ads are telling you to go to BetterHelp, only for you to maybe feel worse about yourself, maybe feel like you're struggling more with your depression simply because you're not getting the support you need. And that breaks my heart, because that instills a level of helplessness to people that no one deserves. And when you're messing around with people's mental health and you're falsely advertising something, and if someone comes across a therapist, for example, that is not good, that is not caring about your mental health, and you are in a serious situation, that deeply concerns me for people, which is why I'm talking about this. I want people who have good therapy to keep it, and people who aren't feeling good or are, interested in joining, I want them to see this other side, because this is a very serious struggle. So I think the entire situation pisses me off, because I'm all about mental health and doing things to help yourself out. And right now, again, therapy is already not very accessible for many people. And the fact that that right there is such a broad demographic and that's being preyed on, and we already have legal issues against this company that has been well known for pushing themselves as a way to help people when clearly they're not, that's bullshit. So I'm very upset with that. I hope you're able to learn something today. If you know someone who's considering BetterHelp, I would recommend sending this video to them just so they could, at least see. I am actually also, since we're on the topic, I am going to have many different numbers and helplines and services down in the description below that I am aware of that are good. So that way, if you are in a crisis, if you need any help, if there's anything going on, please reach out to these numbers. Do not hesitate. It really does help. Trust me. So that was it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you guys think and what you guys are feeling. If you've been involved with BetterHelp, if you've had a negative experience, I would really like to hear it, both good and bad. I'm not judging either way. And yeah, thank you so much. Don't forget to go down in the description below and snag a beautiful jewelry piece today from Ana Luisa. And I will see my angels in the next video. Bye.